Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Micah from Sapulpa Times. It is a special Tuesday episode of the Timeloop today. We don't normally do the show on Tuesdays unless there's extenuating circumstances, which today is. It is, first of all, it is an election day, and so if you guys are eligible to vote, you need to be getting out to do that. I'm going to talk about that just a little bit more later on in the show. But first, I wanted to address something that came to light yesterday, and by now, many of you guys have probably seen the cease and desist letter that Sapulpa Times got yesterday, which we did get. We got it by email at about 4:16 in the afternoon, I believe, with the instructions that we needed to comply with their demands by 5 o'clock. Um, so like had about 45 minutes to comply. So anyway, I want to address that, talk about what happened there and how we're handling that situation. Um, I want to start by saying this though. So Sapulpa Times has been around for over 10 years now. It is not at all the first time that we've ever been threatened for something that we published. And either, verbally or sometimes with in a written form. And so it wasn't something that was entirely unexpected. Um, but most of the time, it is because somebody is not happy about a story we wrote about maybe their arrest or something. That has happened before. Somebody threatened to sue us because we wrote a story about their arrest and they didn't like that. But nothing ever became of it because it was public record. We were writing the story based on the arrest report, and there was basically nothing they could do about it. And for the most part, most of these folks would rather just kind of get on with their lives, and so they just, they don't really retaliate. They just let it go and just kind of. Uh, if you give it 24 hours, people are going to forget about it anyway. So, that being the case, that's basically what we were delivered yesterday was the cease and desist letter from Kent and Christy Glessner with Paradigm Engineering, and it was based on a story that we wrote yesterday. We actually published two stories about the Glessners yesterday. The first one was about how they're denying their involvement with that controversial pamphlet that circulated last week. And my understanding is that they actually came to, or at least Kent did, came to city council last night and stood up during the public comment section and denounced any involvement with that distribution of that pamphlet, which is what we covered in the first story that we wrote. And then I wasn't there. Normally I'm at the city council meetings. I wasn't there because we had a baseball game and I'm the head coach of the team, so I had to be there. But I had a couple people text me and tell me that this is what was going on. So, glad to see they did that. Yeah. I don't, think that was a bad idea for them to do that. So glad to see that they, did that as far as that goes. But the other story that we wrote, if you're not completely familiar with it, it has to do with basically the second half of yesterday's show, which talks about them disputing the claims that their company was debarred and based on action from the Department of Labor. And I'm not going to rehash the whole thing here. You guys can go and read the story. It's still up, still available to read if you want to get the details on that. But I thought I would address a couple of things here. So uh, I will say this: it's the first time I've ever been sent a cease and desist um, because I wrote the story in favor of the person that the story was about. The headline very clearly says that the city council candidate is disputing those claims. And so we laid out the story of what was going on, and then we put at the end of the story how they were disputing the claims. I mean, it's very clear there that and we did talk to Kent. I talked to Kent on the phone yesterday before the story came out. Actually, after we did the show, before the story came out, I talked to him. And he tried to explain to me that the matter was still in discussion. And I asked him to send something in writing that would help me basically like expand on that and put that in the story. And he didn't. And then I got another text message and another phone call from Christy Glessner, his wife, basically saying that, hey, we're not debarred. And I said, okay, I need something official that shows that, because all the official documentation shows that you are. And she declined to provide any additional information that showed that they were not, in fact, debarred. So now, after the fact, after we published the story, published it right around 4 o'clock ish or something like that. And then I mean, almost immediately got an email that said the cease and desist letter. And it didn't provide any other context except the cease and desist letter, which does have a link to the Department of Labor website, which includes this excerpt here about the penalties and sanctions and appeals. And the part that they were specifically referencing in the cease and desist is this highlighted area here that says the final ARB decisions may be appealed to and are enforceable through the federal courts. And so it would appear to shed light on that and to say that, yeah, if we're still appealing this decision. Kent Glessner did say that the decision is still under discussion. And so it may very well be that the debarment, I guess, hasn't started or something, if that is still happening. The problem is that I gave them an opportunity to show that that was still happening, and they declined to actually provide any proof of that. And so that's curious. I did give them ample opportunity to provide that in a written statement. Would have happily put that in the story if that had been provided. And then what I was told by Christy Glessner on the phone was, you don't need anything else. Just, you're being put on notice. You don't need anything. And I said, can you provide me with some documentation of anything that reverses anything that I just said? And she said, you don't need it. And then just, don't put the story out. But she didn't provide me anything. And so, yeah, kind of curious that I gave them the opportunity to provide that. They declined to do so. And then they provided this link to the website with this area about the appeals there immediately after I put the story out. So not going to say anything specific about that. Not going to make any kind of an accusation. Just noting that is that's interesting, to say the least. So anyway, that is kind of the gist of what's happened now. The bottom line is that if you go to the website and you look now, the story is still there. It is not coming down, and we will not be removing it because we didn't put anything in there that was not factual, not backed up by court documentation. And we did tell their side of the thing. We tried to say that we talked to them on the phone, gave them an opportunity to tell us their side. We explained their side, which Kent says that the matter is still under discussion. That's in the story. And Christy very definitively said via text message that they are not disbarred. That's in the story, or debarred. That's in the story. And then we just explained that we haven't found any other documentation to show us that to be the case. So we did send it to a lawyer. Lawyer said, you didn't put anything in there that doesn't look like it's untrue, so go ahead and leave it up. So we are. And bottom line is, we did that story because we want to provide an informed electorate, and they are accusing us in the cease and desist of maybe trying to sway the election and influence the election by the timing of that story. Because, I mean, we're not denying that it came out right before the municipal election. That was, that is true. It did happen. But we're not really trying to sway the election so much as we are just trying to inform the voters. So the voters, they're informed. And today's the day to act on that. And listen, if you are still of the opinion that, hey, despite everything I've seen, I still think Kent Glessner is the best candidate for this ward, that is completely fine. I have no problem with that at all. You are completely within your right to make that call and, go exercise your duty and cast your vote. And so today is voting day. We have wards in 1, 3, and 5 that are up for contest. And there's another item that's on the ballot here that is still not getting enough attention, I don't think. And I just wanted to bring everybody back around to this just in case. Central Tech Proposition, they are looking to do a millage increase, 2 mills. Which will equate to, if the math works out, about $100,000 a house. A house is worth $100,000 in marketplace values. Your market value of your house, $100,000, will equate to an assessment millage increase of 2. So it comes out to about $24 a year increase in that. And I spoke with Superintendent Kent Burris last week. We put the story out on that. All of the details are in on this. One thing that I don't think a lot of people are fully aware of is this is an increase in perpetuity. So unlike a city bond or something of that nature where we're trying to draw down a certain amount of money and then that bond eventually gets paid off, this is an ongoing tax increase. So it is an increase. It's going to stay there. But I mean, when it comes down to it, it's $24 a year. And so you have to decide, is that amount of money per year that I'm going to be spending, is that worth seeing the Central Tech be able to continue on? I will also point out that it's the first increase that they've asked for in almost 30 years. And so Central Tech has been good stewards with the money that we have given them as long as we've been paying taxes. And everything, prices of everything's gone up, and they did have a wait list of 402 students, I believe it was, that they wanted to have, that they had to turn away because they were at capacity at both of their campuses. And so this is part of what they're trying to address, is address the shortages that they have in space and help stabilize the future as well. So guys, please go read that story, get informed in that, and then go and cast your vote. Okay, polls will be open until 7 o'clock today. We'll be covering the elections, and we will update you and inform you of the results when we get them. All right, a couple of things I did want to bring up though. Let's pivot here to just a little bit about some of the events that we've got going on. I got two events that I want to share with you. The first one is the Child Abuse Prevention Ceremony. Every year, um, CASA and some other organizations get together to plant pinwheels in front of the Creek County Courthouse. And what they do is they place a pinwheel for every child that is in foster care in Creek County. Right now, that number is 105. And I think that number is maybe a little bit less than it was last year. I can't recall that exactly. But anyway, it's a really good thing to be a part of. Judge Laura Ferris will be there. Several of our probably local politicians will be there. And it's just a good thing to do in remembrance of the foster care system and the kids we have here in Creek County that are in foster care. So if you're able to make it out at noon on Friday, be sure to come out and hang out with us and participate in that and plant a pinwheel and do that in remembrance of the foster care system. And you'll learn more about what's involved with that. And maybe if you want to get involved to become an advocate or something like that, then there'll be information and there'll be people there that can answer those questions for you. So the other thing I wanted to bring to your attention is trivia night. Sapulpa Bands is doing a fundraiser. It is this coming Saturday, and it's trivia night. But the reason I'm bringing it up now is because tomorrow is the deadline to get your tables in if you want to participate. So it costs $10 per person, or you can buy a table for $60 for 6 people if you got 5 friends that you want to get together and go out there and dominate the trivia night. And then we've got the QR code here. You can scan that, or you can check the Sapulpa Band's Facebook page. Does look like it's going to be a lot of fun. They're going to have concessions that'll be available for purchase, and they're also doing door prizes and things like that. Plus, you get to support the Sapulpa Band, which is great. So be sure to go out there and participate in that. Go ahead and get your team together. You are running out of time, so want to make sure that you guys saw that and were able to do that while you still could. So get your brainiac friends together and go win some trivia night, win some prizes. It'd be a lot of fun. So anyway, guys, that is pretty much it as far as the day goes today. Want to thank you guys for tuning in. I hope this is a good explanation of that cease and desist that we received and how we're going to be handling that. I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll probably have Lucy here to talk about what's happening this weekend for Hump Day. Thank you guys for tuning into the Time Loop Live. I will see you guys again tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.